Mario has branched out to a lot of video game genres, including the RPG genre. So far, he's had 9 RPG games: Super Mario RPG, Paper Mario, Superstar Saga, Thousand Year Door, Partners in Time, Super Paper Mario, Bowser's Inside Story, Sticker Star, and Dream Team. I'm going to go with my gut and decide what I truly find to be my top 9 best from least favorite to most favorite. Let's get this party started! Yeah, I didn't like Bowser's Inside Story. But now I think I finally found some reasons as to why I didn't like it. I didn't like the game partially because it's way too easy. I mean, yeah, we have some formidable bosses like Midbits and the Memory Brothers, but the majority is just so easy, especially the Bowser battles. Bowser probably would have been this game's saving grace if he wasn't incredibly overpowered. And with his shell dodge, it gives way too much time to counterattack. When using the Mario Brothers, it requires you to get the timing right. With Bowser's shell, you need no timing. And is anyone else bothered by the fact that Bowser's most powerful attacks rely on his minions? Bowser's the king of Koopas. He should be doing all the pummeling himself. Also, the game isn't very fun and enchanting like the others. I feel like Alpha Dream put so much effort on humor that they forgot to give it that feeling of epicness. And when the cutscenes come up, the dialogue drags on and on and on, even for an RPG. I hope now you have a better understanding of why I didn't like the game. Luckily, it's the only Mario RPG game that I didn't like. Now, here's a game I actually do like. It's just not great. Super Paper Mario had an awesome concept for a game, and the execution was good, but it had some seriously wasted potential. Super Paper Mario's storyline is easily the darkest in the Mario series. Count Bleck is attempting to destroy not only the world, but all worlds. And the void that destroys all of these worlds, as cliched as it sounds, is quite intimidating. Mario is granted the ability to flip dimensions between 2D and 3D in this game. But I'm going to talk about this game's downsides. First off, the bosses. It has got to have one of the most pathetic sources of bosses I've ever faced. I can see they were going for a platforming RPG rather than turn-based battles, but they failed to give the bosses enough HP to survive for a minute. Heck, most of the bosses can be beaten within the span of 30 seconds! And one thing I loved about the first 2 Paper Mario games was how they had different and unique ways of traveling to different worlds. Whether it means entering a toy box, riding in a blimp, traveling through the sewers, taking the train, etc. Here, they're all accessed by the same way, by entering doors that are all right next to each other. I preferred it when you could fully explore the levels rather than playing them consecutively, because that made some great exploration. And about the pixels. I know the other Paper Mario games had partners that had their own individual abilities, but Mario needs to switch pixels in order to do some of the simplest things, like using the hammer, which he could easily do by himself earlier. It gets very redundant. The last complaint? The level design has got to be some of the worst in any game I have ever played. You'd assume that because Mario can flip dimensions, they take full advantage of that and make some absolutely wicked level design, but 6 of the 8 worlds in this game have at least one of that one level where I have to keep going around in circles repeatedly because of how the backgrounds look exactly the same. Don't worry, I also have some good stuff to say about the game. Like the other Paper Mario games, this game has a certain charm to it, and it does a great job at striking fear and sadness into our hearts whenever it tries to. In this game, you play as 4 characters: Mario, Peach, Luigi, and Bowser. Mario can flip dimensions, Peach can float across long gaps, Luigi can do a super high jump, and Bowser is the powerhouse of the team. And because of this game's dark atmosphere, it also helps that this game has one of the best storylines in any Mario game. While the ways to enter the different worlds aren't as creative as the previous Paper Mario games, it feels awesome not just going to different areas, but different dimensions. We have the basic Mario type world, we have Merle's Mansion, a world made out of pixels, an outer space level, a mining area, a Japanese dojo, a link between the underworld and the heavens, and the void, which really does look like what you'd picture the void to look like. Probably even more like the void than you thought it would. Overall, this game isn't great, it's not bad, it's not a masterpiece, it's not an abomination, it's just okay. I'm sorry that this entry is longer than the others, I just had a lot to say about this game. One major improvement of my 2013 games list over my 2012 games list was that I gave the games more time into deciding what games I truly like more. There's only 2 entries I messed up. One is Super Mario 3D World, which I think should have been a little bit higher. The other is Mario & Luigi Dream Team, which I put way too high on my list. It should have been number 17, between New Super Mario Bros. U and Okami-den. This game is indeed great, and I do love it. But now that I think about it, you know about Luigi's abilities in the Dream World? You know, one of the coolest parts in the game? Well, it would have been, but since about 70% of the game takes place in the Dream Worlds, it loses its charm. Don't even get me started on the time where you have to find big, massive troops. The Dream World battles are still as epic as I remember them, if you subtract the cheesy battle music, but the overworld abilities in the Dream World don't feel as great as they were, especially since the game is very long. And the references weren't as cool as I remember them. One thing I loved about Papa was his little grudge against the Mario Brothers. I thought that was funny. But here he doesn't even recognize them. He may remember them, but you'd think that he'd know them when he sees them. Kylie Koopa is this game's only flashback to Partners in Time, other than the innovations it kept since that game, and it has way too much Bowser's Inside Story flashbacks, which was already my least favorite Mario RPG game. That's not to say Dream Team is bad. It still has that Mario RPG charm to it, and the songs range from just okay to downright enjoyable to listen to. And like I said, the Dream World battles are epic. You face against a huge amount of enemies in the Dream World, which you think would sound cheap. Trust me, it sounds cheap, but in the Dream World you can attack multiple enemies at once. And the way you can dodge certain attacks by moving up and down while using the jumping dodge and hammering in different directions. And now you can save whenever you want, and restart the battle without needing any retry clocks. Overall, this game is great. It will never live up to its predecessors, but that doesn't keep it from being fun. You know the Mario RPG games are awesome when this isn't even at the halfway point yet. This game is absolutely amazing. For the game that introduced many Mario RPG fans to the RPG genre, this game still holds up today. Well, maybe except for the level design. Don't get me wrong, the level design is good, but it doesn't have the ability to come back with certain abilities you get later in order to access previously inaccessible areas in the game. That's the closest thing in the game that hasn't really held up. Mario and Final Fantasy are nothing like each other. But Nintendo and Square Enix got together and created a game that feels like both a Mario game and a Final Fantasy game at the same time. How do you make a game feel like 2 completely different franchises? That's a great accomplishment! There are 5 characters you play in this game. Obviously you play as Mario, but you can also team up with Bowser and Peach, which you didn't get to much before this game came out. You can also play as 2 completely new characters, Mallow and Geno. This game also has some of the most iconic songs in the Mario spin-off games, including the fan-favorite song of the game Beware the Forest Mushrooms and Nimbus Land, which you're listening to right now. And need I mention the awesome mini-games? Nintendo, Square Enix, this is what you can do when you work together. Why do you two hate each other so much? Maybe if you got together more often, we could have more games like this. And who knows? Maybe we'll have a better chance of Sora getting into a Smash Bros. Game someday. I really shouldn't get my hopes up like this. Bottom line, this game rocks. Yes, you're saying this right. I like this game more than both Super Paper Mario and Super Mario RPG. Many people say this is the worst Mario RPG game. I'm even worried that Chugga Conroy will probably never Let's Play this game. Even though Super Paper Mario has gotten more praise ever since Chugga Conroy's Let's Play of it, Sticker Star has always been referred to as a terrible game from the day it came out to right now. And admittedly, for forgivable reasons. Because you don't gain experience points from battles, the stickers disappear every time they're used. The battles pretty much serve no purpose anymore since you basically use up your stickers to defeat them to get coins to replace your stickers, and you'll end up exactly with how much stuff you had before you fought them. I'll admit that was weird. And the plot of the game is pretty much a copy-paste of the original Paper Mario, except with the Star Rod being replaced with the Royal Sticker. I agree, it could have been better, but what about the art style? I'd have to say it has the best art style out of all the Mario RPG games. I mean, everything's just so shiny and beautiful. I like the jazzy music, which is a cool touch. As for the level design, it is epic. You can use super weapons to not just inflict major damage against the bosses, you can also use them to help you proceed with some very flashy effects. Sticker Star uses the whole paper gimmick even better than the other Paper Mario games do. But that doesn't make it the best Paper Mario game. I really didn't want to put the original Paper Mario at only number 4. It's just that there are 3 games that I find to be even more enjoyable than this game. Paper Mario brought us the Paper Mario series, which are downright epic. It holds up even more than Super Mario RPG does because you can actually get partners that can help you proceed in the levels. And while part of the game involves you having to save the princess yet again, this time you also have to save the world. You go all over the Mushroom Kingdom to rescue the Star Spirits, the Koopa Brothers Fortress, an ancient pyramid, a haunted mansion, a Shy Guy's toy box, a volcano on a tropical island, above the clouds, and in a palace made of ice. The storyline is also brilliant. There's the storyline itself, but each chapter has its own subplot while still reminding us of the main plot. Another great factor is the boss battles. They have some even more creative stuff than in Super Mario RPG, making them feel very well made. Paper Mario is easily my favorite Mario game on the N64. Yes, more than Super Mario 64. Here's the game that introduced me to the Mario RPG games, also known as Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. I may not have grown up with this game, but I was really close to growing up with it. The music, level design, and bosses are all very memorable. Throughout my life, I've played through this game probably about 5 or 6 times, and even to this day, it's still really fun. I even did a Let's Play of it 2 years ago. This game is quite different from the traditional RPG game. Unlike most RPG games that involve you having to rely on luck to avoid attacks, here you can actually dodge! Some of the characters have different speech patterns, which is also a nice touch. You can also play as both Mario and Luigi at the exact same time, while still being simple to control them. Mario and Luigi not only have their own individual attacks, but they can also use combined moves called Brothers Attacks. They can even use some of them on the field, such as jumping off Mario to reach higher areas, and hammering Luigi to let him dig underneath certain areas. And it uses the ability to go back to certain areas with new abilities to a great amount of potential. And it has a great amount of nostalgic throwbacks to the various Mario games. Starbean's Cafe has some Luigi's Mansion references. The game has a few remixes of songs from past Mario games. The Tanoombas are a reference to Super Mario Bros. 3, and has some mini-levels that play out like Super Mario Bros. Part of the Woohoo University is like the original Donkey Kong, and Geno makes a very brief appearance in the Star Stash minigame. I don't have much else to say about this game. Just check it out. You'll love it. I really wanted Thousand Year Door to be number 1. It would have been number 1 if it weren't for the repetitive backtracking and how it's the most overdone Let's Play subject in the Mario series. But it's still a game that is just downright amazing. Mario has his partners that help him throughout his quest, and also has some new paper abilities like flying like a paper airplane, sliding through tight spots, turning into a sailboat, and rolling like a log. I also enjoy how the game has better level design since it has more platforming sections, and some pipes lead into the background. Most of the areas are access to the sewer, but at least it works kind of like a hub area, and it has some very funny moments that did a great job at making me crack up. The storyline is also better since it has more stuff going on, because of how serious the main storyline is. It's a very enjoyable game. Alright, let's recap the list before we get to number 1. Number 9, Bowser's Inside Story. Number 8, Super Paper Mario. Number 7, Dream Team. Number 6, Super Mario RPG. Number 5, Sticker Star. Number 4, Paper Mario. Number 3, Superstar Saga. And number 2, Thousand Year Door. I'm sorry if this seems like a random choice, but Partners in Time is truly my favorite Mario RPG game. Still think it's a weird choice? There are no right or wrong opinions in this world. So why did I choose this as number 1? It was a difficult choice to decide which one I should put at number 1. Partners in Time, Superstar Saga, or Thousand Year Door. I decided to make a scoreboard for myself in a similar style to Josh Scorcher's Versus Rants, and Partners in Time ended up getting more points. The level design isn't as good as it could have been, because instead of the entire overworld connecting, all the areas are linked to by pipes, but it has what I believe to have the best soundtrack in any Mario RPG game. It also introduced some great innovations to the Mario and Luigi series, such as having a map on the top screen, a move tutorial, and a box showing the total amount of damage you give to your foes while dealing multiple attack moves. All 3 of those innovations were very needed to the game. It's also one of the darkest in the Mario franchise, since the Shroobs are abducting many Mushroom Kingdom citizens and possibly even murdering them. Very dark for a Mario game. I can't explain why this is my favorite Mario RPG game. I guess it's just because it seems to have more of everything than the other Mario RPG games, but whatever the reason, this is my number 1 favorite Mario RPG game. I am Meta57 II, and thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I will see you all. Oh great, you again. What do you want this time? First you plagiarized Yodrick's opinion on Final Fantasy III, and now you prove that you have no taste in games. What's wrong with the games I play? Games like Mario and Pokemon are for babies. I demand that you play more manly games like Grand Theft Auto and Halo. If you don't play those games, you're not a real gamer. I can play whatever games I want to play. It's a free country. When will you people understand that? Well, you're wrong because, well, you're a loser for playing Nintendo games. Will you just get out of here?